Hey guys! Tell me why I was practicing hey guys before I got here. Listen, don't judge me, okay? It's a lot to get before you guys. I know it might not seem like a lot, but let me tell you, it's a lot to be here and to be present. And I've been doing something different. I've been coming here every day just to kind of test the waters and see what kind of response happens. Because sometimes in your business you got to do testing. You got to work things out. You got to try this and try that and do this and do that. So yeah, yeah. Hopefully, you guys are not tired of seeing me. I am not tired of seeing you. There is so much information that I have to share with you, and that is why I keep coming. I keep coming in here because yeah. Anyway, you see the title, all right? You see what it says. How did a $5,000 investment turn into $1 million offer? I know it's very stimulating, yeah. But this is a story that really goes back to my first business. Hey, goddess, welcome, welcome. I'm on here and I'm talking about business. That's what I do. I got my coffee here on deck. Okay, I'm in sunny San Diego, although it's really not that sunny right now because it's June gloom. They call it May gray and June gloom, but it's still nice outside. Anyway, I'm telling this story about how a $5,000 investment turned into $1 million offer. Yeah. Which is a really good story in itself. And it goes all the way back to when I started my first company in 2007 while I was still in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Shout out to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where I am born. I have been living where I'm living now for over 7 years. Did a lot of things in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yeah, lots of things. One of the things I did was work for the government for over 12 years. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the likes. Thank you. Worked for the government for over 12 years. And let me tell you, that was a job in itself. hmm But one of the things that I did while I was working for the government was I decided that I wanted to start my own company because I felt unfulfilled, and I felt like once I got to the top, once I started working for the chief of staff's office, and I saw what I saw. Listen, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to go there today to talk about the tomfoolery, but basically, I saw that it wasn't meant for me. It wasn't meant for me to be in management per se, and I wasn't completely convinced that that was exactly what my destiny held. People were going to meetings, and it was meetings after meetings after meetings after meetings, and I was just like, I don't want to live my life just going to meetings all the time. There has to be something more. Okay. I wanted to be in control of my destiny more. So, yeah. So, I remember I talk about this in my book how I ended up going to this uh, seminar, actually. You know how there are always these seminars going on, like, oh, real estate seminar. I had to take off my clothes. Oh, this type of seminar, that type of seminar. Well, well, there was this seminar that was talking about, it was called Stores Online. I don't know if you guys remember Stores Online. I'm always talking about Stores Online because that is how I got into my first business by opening a e-commerce store online. Now, e-commerce was still fairly new in 2007, although we had already experienced the dot-com boom of the 90s, of the late 90s, et cetera, et cetera. But it was still fairly new. If I'm having issues with my Wi-Fi, it's because it's cloudy here, and I just pray for me. But anyway, so I remember going to this webinar, and at the webinar, they were talking about how to launch your retail store. Now, this was, a new concept for me. I thought it was fascinating because I could still work, my government job, and yet I could tiptoe into the entrepreneurial world. Well, after the webinar, they said, okay, well, in order for you to participate and to start your online store, it's going to take $5,000. This is where I sip my coffee. How many of you have ever, been to one of those webinars or seminars, or maybe you had a opportunity for a business come across your eyes, and they told you what the investment, they told you the sticker cost, and you had sticker shock. You like, excuse me, how much is it? Again, thank you for the hearts and thank you for the likes. You have a few times. Yeah, we all have experienced that. And I was like, $5,000. Okay, what am I going to do? And at the time, I was like, well, then come to find out they had financing. I said, oh, well, now, if you have financing, then maybe this is something I can do. Maybe this is a sacrifice or something, a way for me to get in. So I went ahead and I applied for their financing. It was so funny because they actually had their financing person like right there, which was really extremely convenient. So went ahead and I applied for financing and I qualified for financing, and that's how I got my $5,000 to start my first company. I want to talk to you about investing in yourself, because oftentimes we're afraid to take a step, we're afraid to take a risk, but we need to take a risk if we're going to be successful, if we're going to be um, beyond average. If you want to be beyond average, then sometimes you got to do things that push you out of your comfort zone. It's not, being in business is not about being comfortable. I don't know. I don't know if anybody told you that, but it's not about being comfortable. What you say, Goddess? Financing is a high leverage move for getting your dreams off the ground. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I took that step. I took the step of financing, and I was able to get my dreams off the ground. I was able to start my tea and coffee company. If it wasn't for the financing, then I wouldn't have been able to do that. And let me tell you how much fear I had. Let me tell you how much fear I had when I had to make the decision of financing my business. I didn't know if it was going to be successful. I didn't know if it was going to work out for me. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I had to do something different. I knew where I wasn't where I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to start my own company. So when the people offered financing to me, I took advantage of that. And I decided that I was enough. I decided that I was worth it. I decided that it made sense for me to invest in myself. Me taking the financing was me investing in myself. And I'm glad I did it. So get the money, start my company, and nothing happens for me. I'm like, well, what am I doing wrong? At the time, I didn't know about SEO. I was learning. I was getting my feet wet. I was making all the mistakes that you make when you start your own company, but I didn't give up. I didn't give up, guys. Fast forward years later, I figure out a lot of things in my business. I go through different, what I want to say, different levels in business. I go through different experiences in business, and I end up starting a CBD company. This was many moons ago. I got to tell this story because what I'm really talking about is how when you take a step, how the universe takes 10 steps towards you. But you have to take the first step. You have to be willing to invest. You have to be willing to have a mustard seed of faith. You have to be willing to see your dreams through. In order for the universe to move towards you, you have to move towards the universe. You have to show the universe that you mean business. And sometimes when you make that first investment, you might not see results right away. This is a fact. This is a fact in business, and yet it is still worth it to invest in yourself. Let me tell you why. So fast forward, okay, many moons later, I have a CBD company. I decide, before I create this CBD company, that it needs to be branded. I need to know my archetype. I need to know this. I need to know that. I need to have this brand. It needs to be excellent. So happens that I'm attending a webinar, and I happen to be sitting in the same vicinity of a branding expert who actually happens to be the guest speaker at the webinar. I politely slide over my CBD product designs to this man and get his feedback. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is excellent." All right. So I launched my CBD company. I make arrangements with the manufacturer. I negotiate the best deals with the manufacturer. By then, I had already secured an investor that made millions. Okay, excuse me. So if I had not have invested $5,000 in myself to start my first company in the first place, I wouldn't have been able to start a CBD company, and I wouldn't have had an investor that was already worth millions. He made 20 million one year and then turned around the following year and made another 20 million. And I had him as an investor backing my CBD products. So I was able to get the best manufacturer, and I was able to do so much more than my competition was, because I was plugged into a staff of over 30 people who had already had stores or places that they were putting their products in these various stores. So therefore, my CBD products could go right into those stores too. Anyway, so after I launched my CBD company, this is where it gets interesting. I know it's interesting already, but this is where it gets really interesting. So after I launched my CBD company, 6 months later, I had offers to buy out my company. I had 2 offers, both of them for 500,000. I had offers for over $1 million to buy my CBD company that I had just launched 6 months ago. Oftentimes people talk about, I had offers to buy out my company. You hear this every once in a while. Yeah, you hear business owners talk about this. But let me tell you, I had offers after 6 months of launching my CBD company that were over $1 million. And this wouldn't have happened if I would have never invested $5,000 into starting my first business. What I'm telling you is sometimes it takes an act of faith to get your business off the ground. Sometimes it takes you investing in yourself to see progress. Oftentimes you're waiting and waiting and waiting, but the universe is waiting on you to decide to do something different. We want to invest in all these other things. We want to invest in Roth IRAs, which I've had those too. We want to invest in CDs. We want to invest in different stocks. There's nothing wrong with that. But we refuse to invest in ourselves. But let me tell you something. When you invest in yourself, your value appreciates. You may not realize, you may not realize this, but this is key to your success. And that's why I'm telling you this story about how $5,000 turned into $1 million offer. If I had not taken that first step, I wouldn't have seen the type of success that I've seen so far and beyond. So I want to encourage you, the next time you have an opportunity to invest in your business, that you take advantage of that opportunity, because you never know exactly where it's going to lead in the first place. You can do things and be afraid while you do them. When again, thank you for the hearts, thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. Again, when I made my first $5,000 investment, let me tell you, I was afraid. I was afraid. But I'm so grateful that I was able to do that, because of everything I learned in the process, and because of all the success that I've had, and because of the doors that opened up for me, just by simply making a decision to invest in myself. Let me tell you, to this day, I invest in myself regularly. And I want you to do the same, whether it be through mentoring, whether it be through consulting, whether it be through coaching, whether it be through books, whether it be through classes. I literally pour into myself regularly. The more you pour into yourself, the better outcome you will have. If you refuse to invest in yourself, then you will not, I repeat, you will not attract wealth in your life space. You will not attract success in your business. The first person that needs to invest in your business is you. And when you invest in yourself, you are investing in your business. So when you say you cannot afford something, you need to fix your mindset and figure out how. Because when you really want to do something, let me tell you, you find the money to do it. Let me tell you, you hear the saying, where there's a will, there's a way. Oftentimes we want the success, but we don't want to do what it takes in order to get there. You are your first investor. Oftentimes we're looking for investors and we're looking for funding, but you are your first investor. And it starts with you making a yes, deciding to do something different and saying yes to yourself. Saying yes to yourself, just like I said yes to myself many moons ago when I made my first $5,000 investment. This is why now I offer funding. I offer financing to my customers who are interested in working with me, because it's by funding and financing that I was able to get my business off the ground many moons ago. And now I'm turning around and I'm able to offer it to people who are interested in starting their own company, people who are interested in working with me directly. Now I have financing options. Now there's no excuse. You see? I want you to stop making excuses and start making decisions, because successful people make decisions. And the dogs are barking per usual because they agree. Now, as always, I'm going to show you my offering to you so that you know what some of my solutions are for you. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, so this is my business offering. Hopefully you can see my screen. This is one of the offerings that I have. This is literally a business in a box. Okay, this is an opportunity where you can become licensed to teach the #1 business development program for African American women. You do not have to be an African American woman to be licensed to teach this program. You do not have to be an African American woman to receive the benefits of this program or to be part of this program. You want to go to expectmoretraining.com to get more information about this program, to find out what you can learn and find out what you can earn by being a licensed practitioner of the 5 keys to business success. All right. Again, you want to go to expectmoretraining.com. All right. I had to mention that. Oh, we have some questions here. I had to mention that because it's very important that I offer solutions. I'm not just telling you about my experiences and telling you about my stories. I'm actually coming on here and offering you solutions. I have financing options available for you as well. All right, what we say? What you say now? Congratulations, Dr. B. You received those offers because the potential of your company was. Yeah, I received those offers because I had sales on the books. There's a few reasons why I received those offers. Number one was branding, because I had a brand, a full brand. Number one, I knew my brand archetype. Number one, I had a give back program. These are all number one. Number one, I had the best manufacturer because I was able to afford the best manufacturer. In order to be under contract with him, you had to give $30,000 a month. You had to be under contract for $30,000 a month. I had the best manufacturer who had a scientist actually working on staff to formulate the products. That's number one. And they worked. Number one, these are all number one. Number one, I had money. Number one, I had the best product. Number one, I had the best manufacturer. Number one, I had a brand. Number one, I had sales on the book. Sales on the book. People don't buy your company just because it sounds good. People buy your company because you actually have sales on the book. And they assess how much they're going to give your company according to the sales that you have on the book. So I had lots of sales on the book. Several. Thousands of thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars that I had on the book. So that's why I had offers to buy the company. Okay. I love you all so much. I wanted to share that story with you because really what happened for me can happen for you. And that's why I'm sharing this story. That's why I'm here to educate. That's why I talk about branding. That's why I teach people how to access the best manufacturer. I have people that are still taking my courses and they're making millions now just because they applied the keys that are in my courses. That's why I'm here. You know, I feel like they say that it takes 11 points of contact in order to really reach a customer. So I have to constantly come on here and remind you guys and share these stories so that you are encouraged, so that you know what happened for me can happen for you. I'm not just sharing these stories just because I don't have anything else to do today. I'm sharing these stories because I want to encourage you. I want to remind you of what can happen when you invest in yourself. Had I not invested in myself, then I wouldn't have made millionaires. It was because I took $5,000 and poured it into myself that I was able to generate millionaires, that I was able to create millionaires. If I had not taken that first step, then I wouldn't have been able to do what I've been able to do thus far. I want to encourage you to take the first step and to not despise small beginnings. Period. You have to be willing to do something. It's when you do something that you see change. Not when you're just sitting around hoping, dreaming, and wishing and blinking. Okay? It wasn't just happenstance that I had offers over $1 million, because that's not normal. But when you have a formula, and when you have sales, and when you know business, and when you do business, and when you have people testing your products and they can tell you if it's a good product, And when you're plugged into a system that works, then you can have those types of offers. That is what I teach. What you say now? Yeah, good to know. I've been interested in medical marijuana industry since the beginnings in Canada. It's time to get on board. It's time to get on board. I created the first CBD consulting company in the world that was created by a melanated person. Okay? And I remember when I created, I was sitting with my partner. I said, this is what we're doing. We're CBD consultants because we've worked in the CBD industry, because we've seen this medicine work for so many people, because we've been in dispensaries. You know, I didn't just get here yesterday. I've been working in dispensaries. I've been creating $1 million dispensaries. I created the number one or the highest rated dispensary in San Diego. Had I not made that first $5,000 investment in myself, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Absolutely. This is the time to get on board. This is the time to get educated. This is the time to do something different. So I want to encourage you all to invest in yourselves. If there's one takeaway from this whole message is the importance of investing in yourself, the importance of sowing a seed of financial investment in yourself. If you're not willing to invest in yourself, no one is going to be willing to invest in your company. And that's period, on the period. Oftentimes people get stuck with, I can't afford it. I can't afford to invest in myself. What if I would have said that? What if I would have decided I couldn't afford to invest in myself? Then I wouldn't be here right now talking to you. How about that? Think about that. Think about what you're missing out on every time you say you can't afford something, every time you decide not to invest in yourself. The money is there. It's the mindset that's missing. Get your mind right. Get your money mind right. I talk about that in the book, The 5 Keys to Business Success. Oftentimes people ask me, where do I start? What do I do? Start by applying the information that's in this book. There's a whole chapter that talks about money. I even talk about how I was invited to this seminar that my millionaire friend invited me to, and what I learned at the seminar. Okay. If you want to be rich, you got to do what rich people do. And I know sometimes people have an issue with the word rich, but if you have an issue with the word rich, then you will never be rich. You can't have an issue with rich people and secretly want to be rich. It's a conflict of interest. I love you all so much. Okay, speaking the truth, I love you all so much. I wanted to come on here and remind you that we're no different. We're no different. That I already know what it's like to have my lights out. That I already know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. I already know what it's like to have a good government job. I already know what it's like to work in a secure place. I already know what it's like to have my own office and still not feel fulfilled. I already know what it's like to have a cap on my income. And that's why I'm here to set you free, because I no longer have that cap. And I don't want you to have that cap either. What you say now? Love it. I'm glad that you love it, and I'm glad that you're here, and I appreciate you all for being here. It's time to do something different. It's time to invest in yourself. It's time to start treating yourself like a high ticket item. It's time to start treating yourself like you are the Roth IRA, like you are the stock market. It's time to invest in yourself like you invest in the stock market. And watch yourself appreciate and watch yourself grow. Stop telling yourself that you can't afford to pour into yourself when you can't afford not to. Let me sip my coffee. Anybody got any questions? I'm definitely open for questions before we check on out of here. Do I teach you how you can have $1 million offers within 6 months of launching your company? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Do I show my receipts? Yes, I do. Do I have the letter? Yes, I do. Can I prove it to you? Yes, I can. Can I show you how to do what I've done? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. What you say, Goddess? I love you so much for all your positive energy that you pour out. I'm so grateful. I see you, Queen. You speaking nothing but the truth. I needed this. Yes, yes. We all need to hear this message over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Because if you're not investing in yourself, then what are you doing? You are the top commodity. You are the most important commodity. You, you invest in your home, you invest in your kids, you invest in your job, you invest in your man, but you don't want to invest in you. You're missing it. If you don't invest in you, the most important source, then what are you doing? What are you doing? It's time to start investing in yourself and stop being cheap with yourself. Take the risk with yourself, pour into yourself, and watch your life change. What you say now? Thank you. Thank you for being here. Again, we are the same. We are the same. And that's why I'm sharing these stories, because I want you to be encouraged. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to realize how just a mustard seed of faith can turn into a mountain of blessings if you take the risk and invest in yourself. I love you all. I appreciate you. I value you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. I'm glad you enjoyed this live. I will be back. I will definitely be back. Have a beautiful Thursday. And remember what I said. Start investing in yourself. Don't wait till tomorrow to invest in yourself. Do it today. Change your mindset today and decide that you are the most important investment that you can make. Turn a $5,000 investment to $1 million offer. I love you all. Bye.